Yeah, there's just what is this, which is already everything. And there is already no separation. Nothing is separate from what is from this. So everything is this, no matter what shape or form it may appear to be. The question, the sensation in the body, the blinking, the room, space, thinking is already an expression of everything. It's already an expression of this. So there's already nothing sticking out on its own. There's just everything. Every direction taken is already this dancing, appearing to dance. Nothing is really going anywhere. It's just this appearing to dance, appearing to move. There's just this space, empty space, where there is an activity appearing in the space, moving up and down. But it is seen that the space where everything appears and disappears, it is the same as the activity. It's just the space appearing as an activity, so there is no separation. So everything is always seen from that space. So there is no separation. If there is talking happening, it is seen that it's just this space appearing to talk. If there is a anger appearing, it is seen that it's just this space appearing as anger. So there is no real separation. So with that being said, everything is just, it's the same. It's the same. There's no difference. There may be a difference in the story. There may be a difference in the story, the labels appearing, just to decorate the story to make it more beautiful for nobody. But things are not as they seem to be. In the story, they may seem to be in a certain way. They may seem to be going somewhere in the story. There may seem to be discussions, problems arising to solve, to deal with. But that's illusory, you know. It's just a story. It's just an appearance. That as it is already empty. Even when it seems as if there is something that takes everything seriously, that as it is already empty. There's nobody there who's facing any problem, who has to deal with anything. There's just this space, which is nothing appearing as that. So it is already empty. So the thinking itself is just what's happening. Trying to find solutions is just what's happening. It's not being done by anybody. There's no doer. Getting it, not getting it, losing hope, finding hope, feeling peace, feeling sadness. There is nobody behind anything. All that is already empty. Is already empty. In a sense that it's just this space appearing as that. There's no real separate thing that can suffer, that is suffering. The sufferer is imaginary. There's no real sufferer, separate sufferer. And the problems, what seem to be problems, they are imaginary. They are no real problems. So there's nothing here. There's nothing to find. There's nothing to be done. There's nowhere to get to. There's nothing to achieve. There's just simply what's happening. Even when they seem to be seeking energy, the seeking energy itself is just what's happening. It may continue, keep on continuing over and over and over and over again. And at times it may seem to uh, disappear. May seem to collapse. But as long as there is that desire to seek, that seeking energy may seem to continue. And then there may be a recognition that it's already this appearing as that there is already no one there who's doing anything, who's seeking. So there's nobody to find this. There's nobody to know this. There's nobody to get this. There's nobody to become one with this. There's just simply this. There are no human beings here. There's no man or woman. There are no children, no animals, no mountains, no space, no room. Nobody here, nothing here. Just this unknowable, indescribable spaciousness, appearing as everything. So there's already no one to find this. When the question arises, it's just already this, which isn't going anywhere, appearing as a question. So everything is appearing now. The question or what seems to be an answer is appearing now. Tuesday is appearing now. Wednesday is appearing now. What seems to be the past is appearing now. The future is appearing now. Everything is appearing now. There's no real past. There's no real future. There's no real today. And even to say now, you know, it's just another story. This is already wordless. This is timeless. This is the unmoving, the undying. This is the unborn. Birth and death is appearing in this, but this is already here. Everything is appearing it's as it's already. You were never born and you will never die. So that's which is talking right now is already everything, is already this. So it's not talking to anything separate from itself. This has never spoken to anybody. I really liked the what you shared there last week about who's the guy Ramana Maharshi that somebody once asked the question that said, do you have ego?
Oh, right. Yes.
And he said, where would I put it?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. I mean, I think many of us that have little glimpses of what we're talking about here expect the ego to go away. Because it does for a little while, right? Because you have little breaks. But then when it comes back, then it's easy to think, well, I guess I'm not there anymore.
Mm. Mm.
And to take that seriously. Which to me, I think I felt up until the moment I met you, you know, and you came with the message, yeah, it's always here no matter what. Sorry. There's nowhere to get to. That's just it too, you know.
Mm.
So there's no longer the excuse of something in the distance. Somehow. There's no longer the mind is no longer tricking itself to trying to obtain something.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So everything or what seems to appear, even what seems to be the separate self, is already this appearance. You know, there's already no separation. Even what seems to be an ego is just this appearing as that. So there's just vastness. You know. This may express as something. Uh, this may express as a limited aspect of itself, which is somebody trying to fix this and that, who's in the world, uh, trying to find this. There's another expression of this vastness. Also expressing itself just as it is, you know, without uh, without that separate self, which is already not there, which is imagined, or I would say without imagining that there's a real separate self. But the activity, the character may seem to be very light, but when there's a strong identification, the character may seem to be very strong. Everything is taken seriously. These, you know, things, doubts, fears, and everything is strong. But when it is seen that it's all just an expression of this, I think it's taken seriously because it's seen as just a play. It's just a play. And nothing is trying to get rid of what seems to be happening or what seems to be the story. Because, you know, the story itself, it comes from nothing, which is already everything. So it's also another expression. This may
Yeah.
seem to engage in a story, may seem to talk, respond, you know, doesn't really matter. So playing around with concepts is just what's happening as well. So there's already nobody looking out from those eyes. And the eyes don't see.
Say more about that. The eyes don't see.
Uh, have you seen maybe one of the sun when have you ever seen a son sleeping while the eyes are open or somebody in the family
Yes.
and you go there and you try to, there's no movement, but the eyes are open.
Christ said, forgive them for they cannot see. Right?
Yeah, that's which sees is not the eyes. It's it is just it can never be seen, it can never be known, can never be understood. That which sees is it doesn't have any gender. But there may seem to be a story as a result of the knowledge and the memory. They seem to say, I'm a man, I see. It claims to be the seer, the knowledge and the story and the memory. claims to be the seer. I'm the one who sees, comes after, but the seeing itself doesn't say anything. It's not saying this. It's just there.
To a certain extent, don't we project our own reality? But it's the illusory self that projects its own reality.
Yeah, it may seem like that. But the illusory separate self as well is also an expression of this, which is vastness, spaciousness, expressing its depth, projecting its own reality. According to uh, the knowledge that was accumulated over the apparent years.
Right. I think of it like a model, you know. I guess that probably doesn't have any meaning to you. I mean, you know about artificial intelligence, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
this up with artificial intelligence. They just shove a lot of information at the computer. It's like more information than a person could ever uh, accumulate in a lifetime. And they ask questions, and the computer finds patterns and brings it back, right? So it's sort of an input-output model, right? Put all this stuff in, and then stuff comes out based on what was put in. And as each of us are these kind of models based on what the models have been fed, right? Your experience is very different than mine growing up in Africa, right? It's just very different crap was shoved down your throat. Crap nonetheless, for sure, but just very different stuff.
yeah,
And there's temperament, right? And there's gender and all this other stuff. Time and place, mother and father. So all of that informs the model, but the model is somewhat automatic. Well, the model is automatic, right? The circumstances and everything that it plays with, and the boundaries between it, as you point out, are arbitrary, right? It lives in this
yeah,
vast sea of information, and it's just spitting out what it was shoved into it, essentially, with the illusion of decisions and personality and identity and ego coming out the other end of the model.
yeah.
To me, the only way to break that is to make space for it and realize that you're not the model, you know, which is what this conversation is about. But I know that the reason I'm interested in this is because I know enough to know that once you see that it's a model, then you can control the model to have a better outcome. That you can escape, or you can see the patterns of the input output model and pare down and toss away that which is not useful. So to me, spirituality for so many years was practical. Practical.
Mm.
But this kind of turns it all upside down, It's it's not practical. That's not the purpose of it. Can be, it's part of this. Can't argue with this, et cetera, et cetera. I can hear you now. But at the same time, that's not it, because that's all just more meta input output model. And that there's something else. There's the seeing, there's the being the seeing, and there's love. It's not goal oriented, or that's not it's not a it's not a improvement plan. It's not a self-improvement plan. But for decades, for me, it was. I wanted to be the best person I could be. Why wouldn't I want that? And I knew that, you know, that was my best chance at that. To me, that was, it wasn't about making money, or wasn't about status or whatever. It was about that spirituality was a portal to being a good person. So it's all kind of gone by the wayside, I guess.
Mm.
I mean, it's still better than, being on drugs and being in the street, but that's not really what it's about.
Mm. So, somehow this this vastness, which is already everything, somehow it may seem to love display of being somebody, living life, going through this and that. It may seem to enjoy, it's really enjoying the journey of really trying to find uh, itself, playing, pretending to lose itself, and going back on a journey of finding itself. It loves it. It's just a play. It's not. It's not to be taken seriously. It's a play. I'm sorry. It's exactly like a dream when you're dreaming, and when you wake up, the realization that it was just a dream. Sometimes you do wake up in the dream while dreaming, still dreaming. Wake up and realize in the dream that this is just a dream. The body is sleeping. So there may be as well a waking up in this dream, realizing in this dream that this is just a dream. But there's nobody waking up here. That's the difference. There's just waking up. There's just recognition. That's all. It's all just this. So nothing matters. The attempt to change the story may not even arise. The attempt to change, to control things may just be allowed to be as they are. Because, this is indestructible. This can never go away. This is, you know, this does not die. This is deadless. So the attempts to control doesn't arise.
Yeah.
It's an illusion.
Where would you put it?
Yeah. There seems to be breathing happening, breathing in, breathing out. But that's what you really are, doesn't breathe. It doesn't need oxygen, doesn't need. Breathing in and breathing out is seen. The body is seen. So, or what seems to be something, the commentator is seen. The complaint, the the anger, somehow energetically it is seen. That's what sees everything. Is indestructible. Is not the story. It's just this is vast. It's always there in the midst of meetings happening in the boardroom, quarreling happening in the family, war going on. It's just there. Watching without interest, not even watching, just there. Stillness. As it was said, let's be still and know that I'm God. This is stillness. In the midst of war going on, bombs exploding, bodies being obliterated, thunderstorms, homes being destroyed.
I don't know
It's
if
just already
thunderstorms
there.
goes in that list in Cozy. Thunderstorms, not so bad. I guess maybe in Durban they can be pretty bad. I take it back. It's like war, thunderstorms, bodies being obliterated.
Sometimes they are very bad. They are very bad.
Yeah, I
You
suppose
know,
so.
here they would just strike the lightning would just strike the tree and the tree explodes.
Yeah. I've seen it. Yep. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Sometimes it feels like in the midst of destruction, energy is released. You know, the exploding tree or the houses that are destroyed, or that it's some sort of massive recycling of energy. You know,
Mhm.
that you can, and at those moments, you can feel it. I don't know. You can just feel the energy that's being recycled. You know,
Yeah.
the heaviness of coming across someone who's dead, for example. Certainly a
Have you
recycling
ever
of
seen?
energy. But go ahead.
Sorry, just to add on what you're saying, have you ever seen those when there is a lightning strike or lightning happening? Have you ever seen those floating light balls, those round balls that floats around?
I don't think so.
Yeah, here there was a lightning strike. My auntie was just alone by herself. Uh, the lightning struck, and then the door, the back door and the front door was opened. So a floating ball of light, very light, brighter than the sun, just floated. It passed through the kitchen to the sitting room, and it went through the back door.
It did the lightning hit the house or near the house?
I think it was near,
Yeah.
near.
So is it just a
Mm.
ball of it's just a ball of electricity
Yeah, yeah.
going through the
Very
air?
bright, very
Wow.
bright.
I mean,
So
I
when you
was
talk
run.
about the release of energy, the
Yeah.
I was just trying to make an
Yeah.
example.
That's that must have been pretty incredible. So you weren't here, but she told me you about it, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I saw lightning go up somebody's. I saw like there was somebody that was like stepsister was, I don't know what the hell she was doing. She was grabbing a hose in the rain, and there was water coming out of the hose. It must have been filling the pool with it. There's water coming out of the hose, and lightning struck near enough that electrical current went up the hose and then out of the water going down. It's just like like some sort of like a like an effect on us in a sci-fi movie or something. I was very young when I saw that. So I was probably 5 or 6. Yeah, I still remember it. I still remember exactly where she was standing. Yeah.
Wow. Were you afraid of that?
No, I think I was too awestruck to be afraid.
No.
You know what I mean? Some things are just so incredible. You're just like, wow.
Yeah. Sometimes when there's a lightning, you would see when there's a lightning strike or just lightning happening. When the moment it happens, sometimes we tend to see when you just focus on where it is happening, you will see a UFO around objects, saucer, flying saucer or something, just standing there. You know.
You know, I've told you about the aurora borealis, right? Aurora borealis.
No.
It's also called the Northern Lights. So somehow,
Oh yeah,
because
I know.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen that in Iceland. That's just incredible. It's like a green, I'm just sitting there, pitch black with all like ice and snow around you, beautiful, cool. And then like it's like a green translucent snake slowly going through the sky, eventually above your head and past.
Wow.
Made of some sort of bizarre electrical matter and magnetic, fields. Yeah. Can you imagine seeing that with no context? When you were like, 1,000 years ago, you would have thought that the gods had like were coming after you or something.
They are visiting or they are not happy.
You're right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very beautiful though. I have seen those greenish stuff. Those yeah, it's very beautiful,
I guess you
beautiful
maybe
to
South
see.
Africa is south enough that you can see it in the southern skies too. Can you actually see it? Or you've just seen pictures?
And I've seen it via television.
Oh, right,
Yeah, seen it when they were showing it, the National Geographic specials. Yeah,
right. But South Africa is still, it's not that south, right? I mean, it wouldn't have the same thing on this. You're not close enough to Antarctica to,
yeah, we're not close.
yeah,
We're not close.
yeah.
We're not close. I remember uh, when there was an intense seeking happening. Sometimes, as I've mentioned before, there would be an out of the body experience of some sorts, and when I would be out, I would just tend to look at the body, and I couldn't see nothing. There was nothing, but I was there, but there was nothing. So I would explore, go left, go right. And there was a time where I still remember this. Yeah, there was a time where I decided to go up, straight up, shoot, fly straight up to the uh, to the sky. I wanted to just live and go out to live the earth. But when I was there, like very, you know, playing like Superman. Just I hit the glass, something like a glass there. Oh, bang! I went back and I made another attempt to. I hit some objects there. I couldn't go through. I don't know what was that, but there's something like a glass that was like blocking,
Right. It's force field.
I guess.
What are force fields from? I can't remember. What movie is force field? Anyway, some sort of superhero thing.
Yeah.
Well, what time is it? 8:15. Almost time to take your auntie to the bus stop.
Yeah, she's getting ready. Getting ready.
Well, it's a good thing that your aunt wasn't hurt by the electrical field passing through the house. When was that? Was that years ago or was that recently?
Yeah, I think it was years ago.
Years
Years
ago.
ago. There was a huge thunderstorm. And then there was a very strong thunder. And then lightning, and then these things, like a beautiful ball of lights.
So in America, what they do is we put we put things of metal on top of our houses, and sometimes they look like chickens or something, you know. But then they'll have the metal that goes all the way down to the ground, so that if the lightning strikes, the lightning will strike the highest thing in an immediate region. So if it's a little bit higher than your house, then it will strike that, and the energy will go straight to the ground and not through the house. So it makes it so that, you know, it doesn't destroy your roof or anything. So they're
Oh.
called weather vanes. Yeah. I guess they don't do that there, huh?
Yeah, I think I've heard about that. I think you buy it and then they install it for you. Some,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I don't know that it needs to really be installed. It's just a metal pole, I think. Big metal pole. Is it you've got a one-story house, right? I mean, there's no stairs, right?
I don't know this. Yeah,
Yes, it's not very tall. It would only have to be
yeah,
about
it's
a
not,
15-foot high pole or something. Yeah.
yeah.
So when you take your auntie to the bus stop, is it dark? Is there no street lights and nobody has their lights
They,
on?
they are street lights, but when there's a load shedding, it's very dark.
I see.
Pitch black.
Right.
It's very dark when there's a load shedding. But they are street lights. They've just this year they changed they decided to change them. I think it was last year, late last year. Yeah, they changed the street lights and they made them more brighter. So it's very like bright as in
Yeah.
uh,
It's
midday.
probably they changed them out probably to LEDs. So LEDs are brighter, but they use less energy. Yeah.
Yes.
They're doing that all over the world. Yeah.
Mm.
They're not as pretty. But I suppose where it's dark, where it's really dark and there's not as many of them, it's probably really good. Yeah.
Mm.
We don't have any. There's none. It's like, I mean, look out here, there's like nothing. All you can see is like people will have their porch lights on. Just so when you go out, it's just very, very dark. You can't see that, can you? It's just reflecting back. Sorry.
Yeah, it is a reflection.
But it'll be, I mean, so just because there's not that many houses around here and people don't walk around, there's not even any sidewalks. So,
Wow.
it's just way more kind of like country. So when you go out and
Oh,
you just like look up, you can just like lie in the grass and look up at the stars, and there's just like nobody there, and there's no lights, and there's nothing. It's just beautiful.
wow.
Yeah,
Very nice.
yeah,
So it's like the stars are very bright and more visible. Yeah.
yes. Because there's no city
Mm.
around directly around here. So in Los Angeles, like where Michael lives and where I lived before, you look up, you can barely see, like, maybe see not a on a good night, you see just a few stars. But here it's like there's as many as you could ever see, right? You look at one spot that appears to be dark, and if you look long enough, you can see that there was a star there, So I mean,
Wow.
yeah.
Mm.
So do you ever get to go to your brother's house or anything to see the stars?
So yeah, I have visited uh, um, where my mother grew up. My mother grew up in rural areas, so I once visited there. Then I could see the stars very up close, you know,
Yeah,
as you were saying, they're very up close, and there were lots of shooting stars as well.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I was here once. As like, Alan came and visited, stayed like 2 or 3 nights, and he was out on our porch. He's like, "What's that one?" And he found this thing, the star that wasn't a star, and it wasn't moving. So it wasn't like a satellite or anything, and it was like flashing red and blue, red and blue, and you could
And
barely
blink.
see it. So I've recorded it, and and that's what it was. It was, but I could definitely see it on my iPhone. It would be like white, red, blue, white, red, blue. It wasn't always just red or blue. Um, but we have no idea what it was. It was just in the middle of But you can see so much that whatever, I mean, it could have been a geospatial, it could have been like a stationary satellite. Sometimes I think maybe it was just orbiting to take pictures, or maybe a special military UAV or UFO. Who knows what the hell it was? Very strange.
Yeah, maybe it was a UFO.
I'll tell Alan you think that he saw a UFO when he was here. And it was also Alan. I went out in the forest with him, and I was talking to him about mushrooms and stuff. He didn't realize that, like, you know, the kinds of mushrooms that can grow on trees that are out here. And there's this one mushroom that looks like a brain that's really good for your brain, ironically.
Yeah.
And he found one. He found one that was like this big. And he's like that? Yes. So we picked it off and cooked it up and ate it.
Wow.
It's really good. Yeah. So if you ever need to spot anything, if you ever need to find anything, Alan is your man.
Beautiful. I remember you posted that one, the
Yeah,
mushroom thing. It was
yeah,
very huge. It was very
yeah,
huge.
yeah. It's amazing. Yeah,
We grew up being told that mushrooms are very poisonous.
yeah. You have to be very careful. You have to be very careful, but some of them look so strange that you can tell that there's none that look anything like this. It's the ones that look just like a normal mushroom. Don't eat those because it could be like one of 1,000 different types of mushrooms, and one of them could kill you. But the ones that somehow are very unique looking. And so
Mm.
there's apps on your phone or books that will tell you, okay, these ones have no copycats, don't worry about it. Well, my
Mm.
family still gets paranoid, but this one was like weird enough. It just could not be anything else. So nobody was worried about that one. But
Wow, nice.
all right, I'm gonna go say hi to my wife for the rest of
Okay.
the evening. Okay, say hi to your aunt, and I'll talk to you next Tuesday.
All right. All right.
Okay. Thank you,
Thanks.
Nkosi. Bye.